In studying all of the divisions of the org board, we're basically going to talk about a concept called functionality. So let's define the word function. What does it mean? A function is the work done by a staff member or by a subdivision as their contribution to the company's overall activity. And of course, this definition applies to our 7-division org board. So, in Division 4, we have Departments 10, 11, and 12. Alright, let's give these Departments 10, 11, and 12 some functional content. Or to put it simply, we're going to outline the functions and the work that each department would need to do and produce as the sub-products that could exist in Division 4 in our imaginary company called Furniture. Here's the key significance of Department 10. It takes care of providing for the whole production process. In our example, Department 10 would be doing something like this. Production planning. Do you think that's an important function? Let's suppose that our furniture salesman made some sort of large sale for a certain youth camp. To manufacture 1,000 beds for all the rooms at the youth camp by the summer holidays, for example. Does an order like that have to be planned? No doubt, and carefully planned best of all. Then there is another function. We have to work with suppliers and buy raw materials, buy furniture parts, don't we? Well, obviously. Then we have to be fitted out with machinery and technical equipment. In our example, this would be servicing of machine tools, electrical supply, ventilation, repairs, etc. So the main task of Department 10 is to equip production with everything needed. Let's say that this has been done. Alright, what comes next? Next we have the production area, which is the exact step where the goose is actually fried. In other words, the kitchen. In our example with the furniture, it would be the furniture production shop. That's where they saw it, treat it, polish it, and whatever else. Assemble and pack it all and ship it to the warehouse as a finished product. So there is some manufacturing process. Now we have a finished product. That's the best time to make sure that it gets into the hands of the final consumer or the client, whatever you want to call him. And that's where Department 12 comes into play. Here we have loading, delivery, and assembly if needed. So, if we look over this imaginary furniture company and follow the flow of the manufacturing process, for that example, it's not too hard to see and understand the entire production process inside of the 4th division. But I want to point out here that most businesses deal in trade, in buying and selling, and not in production as such. But basically, all of these businesses have their own production cycle. Let's take a look at what that might be. Let's take a regular trading business. Tell me, do they work with suppliers? Do they buy their merchandise? Of course. Do they plan their products? Of course. They have some sort of logical pattern of delivering the merchandise over an area, etc., don't they? Of course they do. In Department 11, we have the storing at the warehouse, processing and pairing the shipment. Department 12 is the actual delivery and mounting the piece, if you will, assembly, installation, etc. The same goes for service businesses. Services has to be prepared for and supplied with everything necessary. Then they have to prepare or educate the client for the delivery of the service, and then deliver the services themselves. And so again, I'm trying to emphasize that any production activity in an organization easily comes under these three departments. I hope that now the idea and the main concept of Division 4 is clear to you, so you can implement it on your organising board. You know, rationality is the ability to differentiate, whereas irrationality is actually identification. How would that be? Let's say that an executive is interviewing one applicant for a prospective competitive position, and this applicant has a very strong resemblance by many parameters to a staff member fired a year ago with conviction for financial irregularities and alcoholism. And at this moment, the executive passes this applicant over, identifying him with the other man. And yet, if we were to check references on that person, perhaps we could get the most positive replies or recommendations. So, at this moment, the decision not to hire the applicant is irrational. And the reason for this irrationality is identification. That's the philosophy behind it. But why am I telling you all this? Because it is important that you'll be able to differentiate one division from another. That is why every division has its own colour. The colour of Division 4 is green.